Hello everyone, this is Cookies. I've got turn 40. Let's go ahead and jump on in. So we've got a message from Agartha. Pythium and Shennu are at war, which is exactly what I wanted. Pythium came out well ahead on the first turn, which isn't. Still, I'm going to wait for the first major battles to decide how to react as I finish off Jotunheim. Yeah, let's not necessarily look past Jotunheim's cap, but he definitely is looking pretty dead. I'm surprised I didn't crack the capital this turn. I must have been very close. The price of sending those statues south. Still, I think that was worthwhile even with the one turn delay. This war has also de facto given me Duba's cap, as Shennu will not be sending their army to attack it. I'll come out ahead in the division of Jotunheim even before counting the throne. Now I just have to site search the whole thing. But I'm glad he's thinking about taking some land and consolidating it. Shennu's not going to get the chance to consolidate this. All he really needs is what he's saying, which is a bit of a stalemate between the other two major players. If we consider Agartha, Shiniyama, and Pythium as the top three right now. Yes being the other one, and that I would consider part of the top four, but their research is a little bit prohibitive right now. But geographically, they're somewhat unassailable except by Agartha right now. I get enchantment 7 this turn, which gets me a lot of good combat spells. After that, I'm going up to construction 7 before going for enchantment 8. I considered going straight to enchantment 8, but I want mindless astral casters if I'm going to go to war with Pythium. Golems are way too expensive to kit out as thugs for me when I've got troop summons to do. But we'll make invaluable astral casters in my armies because they can't be magic dueled. Yeah, I tend to prefer that use for golems anyways. If I have, although it is nice having magic face thugs, which I don't think Agartha gets a lot of, since it's a lot of like earth and element. It's a lot of was it earth, like death kind of pathing. I think on Agartha. Although they do have those new adepts, so maybe that can be their kind of like magic phase component, but those aren't really good thugs on the other hand. All right. So we have two fortresses getting stormed. Both are from Oceania, and it looks like Oceania is vanquished. So we'll go ahead and start there. Starting with the Green Sea attack first, we have a whole bunch. Oh, so the Sirens stayed to defend. And part of this is because if they stealth to another province and both forts get stormed, then they'll just die stealthed. So in some ways they might as well just defend. But this is just way too much. Yeah, we're talking, was this 7 GSS Morgan champions? So even with some Frozen Heart spam, they'll get through those illusions pretty quickly. They do lose one more Vark Knight to the Frozen Heart spam, but worth it to kill all these mages and put an end to that raiding. Yeah, nothing home here. I don't know that we even need to watch that. And then in Kark, anything home here? Nothing home here. I don't know that we need to watch this one either. Does lose a Yessian druid. This is the second sort of druid where, yeah, if you're not doing turn 1 personal Iron Skin, there is pretty heavy risk. And even if you do turn 1 personal Iron Skin, the first volley of arrows often hits before the first round of buffs. Okay, so this druid only dies because they, prioritizing the Morgans over the mage. Or the Morvarks. Yeah, so one arrow hits. What's the fatigue on the mage? Pretty low fatigue, honestly. Yeah, there we go. Gets sniped there. So, did prioritize the buffs, does lose the mage because of that. But not... Yes, yes can make another mage. That's not a huge deal. Alright. And then, let's see, so we got a whole bunch of fighting between Shenyu and Pythium. A little bit between Shenyu and Jotunheim. I don't think a lot, though. We'll go ahead and go through these in order. Not in any particular rush today. So we've got this Bakemono Sorcerer Thug, again, twice born. I think in the last few turns, a couple of these have been Soul Slayed by Pythium. So good on Pythium. I don't know that we need to watch him kill some PD, though. In the Earth Sentinel Hills. Oh wow, we got two thugs. Alright, and now they're starting to get weapons. So I'm curious to see if Shenyu will gear these in a way where, or rather, not gear these, script these more for fighting rather than casting. Although I guess it's similar sets of buffs each time. Even has personal stone skin on the little Bakemono. Alright. So that raid goes fine. In Usrad, and this looks like it was freeing a fort, I think, because it's just the scout. We've got Agartha attacking Jotunheim. This looks like a merc company. Should clear up this PD. And then in Asia, we've got Jotunheim attacking Agartha. Ooh, Earth Dome. That's not doing shit. Yeah, the Agarthan raids are just too heavy for these smaller Jotunheim counter-raiding forces to match. In Murias, got a Harbinger Thug. We saw this one last turn. It should clear this PD as well. Then in Kestria, we got Jotunheim attacking Shinyu. Looks like a little bit of Skelly spam, but again, a pretty heavy raiding group. And there's the Ashura here. It's going to be difficult. Especially with these Shade Beasts on attack rare. Some of them get caught. All of them get caught. But now it's just a lot of pressure. Ooh, alright. It'd be cool if you got to keep the Solus from the reanimating bite. Alright. So that's Kestria. In Phrygia. Alright. The Emerald Guard backed up by, so like I guess the more Republican troops. The Hestatus and the Velite. Alright. Well, that was brutal. Loses 2 Bone Tribe. I didn't even notice Bone Tribe being there. In Ancirna. Really does seem like Pythium's, I think, getting the better of this. In Witch Haven. Alright, we've got the Lar here. Should be able to thug that out. Then in Black Forest, Agartha continuing to move towards Nabaa. I think we saw a concentration of Jotunheim troops here last turn, but maybe they backed off back to Nabaa. Alright. the other Lar Thug. So there is a quality piece here. It's the Knights, but most of these troops are garbage. We got Militia, we got Vinemen, and then we got a little Soul Slade Communion and a Thug. So it's a little bit of like protected siege chaff almost. And the commander gets sniped. Where was that? That was here. Then in Glen of Iron. Gosh, another... These Pythium armies are so efficient. Alright, then in Durland. I think Draconians should win that. Yeah, 7 of them go down. In Gol Phalas. Another Pythium army. Oh, but this time there's a Shinyama army. So we got a bunch of Kappas. We've got 2 lines of these Daibakemono. At least the longbow variants. They're mixed in with the smaller Bakemono archers, which is pretty nice. They can share squares. Unless evocations come raining down. We do have some PD out here to catch stuff. I think this is the PD commander. A few melee troops to run forward in different squads. Some attack rear bait, whatnot. It looks like the Crone is here, so the Pretender is showing up to do some Astral. Hopefully does not get magic dueled. Certainly something Pythium can do, but I don't think they're running enough extra mages to be magic dueling. Then we've got a Daitengu here. We've got Ubas. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. So 2 Harbingers, one with the winged helmet, although just 1 air gem, so just missed. Not getting into any Fog Warriors territory yet. And then Sharu, the Harbinger, who's kitted out more as a thug. On the other side, we've got a Bakemono Sorcerer Thug here with increased MR, useful for fighting Pythium. Got the Crone. We've got this Legatus guy who's acting as a gem mule. Scouts, or players, it seems like will do almost anything to avoid buying a scout or 2 to hold their gems for an army. It's so risky, though. And then we've got 2 Ubas here. So, a fair number of nature gems, including a Thistle Mace. So, this could be something like Howl, which might be really good against Pythium. They do have all these troops back here, but eventually Hal will find openings to make runs at these mages, and it might help overload the communion or kill certain communion masters. We do have another section of knights getting body ethereal, so the Pythium player making good use of independent troops to kind of supplement the serpent cataphracts who are on the other flank. We got a couple of thugs here, including a heavily geared Lars thug. And they're getting mist form put on them. But yeah. In terms of who do I think might win this, if it is indeed Howl, oh, I think it's gonna be difficult because you have a lot of archers firing into mist, and the Emerald Guard are extremely tanky. Yeah, if the Emerald Guard are an attack rear, it could be difficult, but I think they'll have a hard time killing the Shinyama thugs. And I think there's a possibility Shinyama wins this. I'm gonna place my bet on Shinyama. It is indeed Hal. Let's just do really quick. Do a quick check for Magic Duel. Alright, no Magic Duel. This is a straight fight. So, Light of the Northern Star, Howl, and Mist. Looking like I very much overestimated Shiniyama's chances. Alright, so really quick, now that the battle's pretty much over, this guy got soul slayed. Most everyone else was looking at retreating. And then I wanted to see the... Yeah, there's no wolves back here. Or at least they're I guess getting soul slayed or mind burned as soon as they come on the field. So not much pressure by Hal, despite all these troops being on attack rear. Really thought Hal would do a lot more here. And MR can be a problem for Shiniyama. Okay. Let's see if we got any replay bugs. It looks like this caveman champion died, but a lot of troop losses, but not a lot of mage losses. Was it here? No. Durla, Gol Phalas. Alright. So yeah, just loses the one guy, but does lose a lot of the troops. 45 dieback mono is a heavy price to pay. And then the kappas aren't cheap either at 20 gold apiece. But does burn out the Pythium Communion. So 19 Theurg Communicants go down. So this army, it might be able to raid forward, but I don't know that like all the Theurgs and everything will move forward without maybe getting new communicants unless he rescripts it to some of these guys over to be slaves. So despite losing this army, he might actually buy a little bit of time. I'm not sure if this army will keep advancing. All right, and let's take a look at the map. I don't see anything underground. Pretty peaceful. All right, so for Pythium Shinyama, we've got the big army here in the capital. Fairly big army here in Eternal Sentinel Hills. A lot more than what sallied out to lift the siege. This army is what caught the Shinu army. Yeah, I would not want to fight this without maybe getting new communicants, probably. So I do think this army will back off. Probably to the Rainy Hills. I wouldn't want to get trapped on this fort down here, so I don't think it'll advance. And then Pythium puts this other throne under siege, the outer throne. And they're raiding all over Shinu's cap circle region, including putting multiple forts under siege, which is making it probably really difficult for Shinyama to recruit. I don't know that Agartha's going to get a lot of time to scale. They might have to coalition Pythium here pretty soon. And that said, this is It seems like both front lines are pretty much everything Pythium has so far. The interior is looking pretty sparse. So, and then we'll see if Machaca wakes up. But at the moment, they're content to kill scouts. All right. And then on the yes side, they've stormed multiple forts. I think as yes, if you're in position 4, as long as Pythium doesn't look like they're imminently about to win, it can be okay to work with position 1 to kind of like grow your own position. I think a pretty safe war, because it doesn't interact with coalition potential, would be to go for Machaca. And then maybe Agartha would feel free to help Shenu then, and then maybe you end up in a game state where those 3 players can counterbalance each other and you get a chance to grow. And I like that for yes. Maybe reopening the Machaca War. They also get a chance to maybe build some more infrastructure. Upgrade some of these forts, perhaps, like this one over here. Although we'll see if they feel like doing that. This could be hard to hold in the future. But this is nice, especially since it goes underground as well. So, this part, there's a lot of gem income along this coastline. So 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. No gems with that, but it feels really nice. 10, 11 gems just along this coastline and cave. So definitely worth holding on to. All right, and I'm not sure if we've taken a look at graphs recently, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Big upswing for Pythium. Shinyama, big downswing. Forts, we can see Agartha going in first. Yes, now tying for second with Shinu. Income, big increase for Pythium, big decrease for Shinu. Gem income, they're all a little bit closer, but Shinu is still looking like they're losing this war. Research, Pythium's mobilized a lot of mages. You can see that Shenu's got a lot of mages in forts about ready to move out, so they're closing the gap, honestly. And then for army size, we've got Shenu now dropping below Pythium. Pythium actually staying somewhat flat. The biggest thing they lost this turn was a bunch of 50 gold communicants. And then we've got Agartha out in front. So I think I'll go ahead and call it for this one. Keep this episode a little bit shorter. I think the last one was pretty long. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.